Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. Hello, Rise Up Nation. We're here for a solo episode talking about a few things that have been on my calendar lately in meetings and in discussions, and I just want to toss them out to you and let you kind of ponder them with me, if you will. As always, I'm open to discussion about these things. I'd love to have coffee or lunch. Coffee's better because if I get long-winded, you can escape faster. But to discuss these things, because we're all in this together, right? The whole purpose of this podcast is to rise up, find ourselves above the fray and the mediocrity of the world. And I think one of the ways we do that is by sharing with each other tips and tricks and pointers and things that we're going through, being accountable, holding each other accountable in our experiences. And that one way we do this is discussions like this, but it's one-sided. Like I'm talking at you right now. We're going to have I'm going to share some thoughts of mine with you. And unless you engage me via email, text, or phone call, personal meeting, whatever, it's just a one-way thing. And that's not what we're here for. We're not about that. We're about discussion and growth and life change and action, because those are the things that matter. So today, 2 things we're going to talk about. First, I've had a great conversation recently about this. How many of you have spent some amount of time recently looking at stats, your specific real estate stats? And I should say, by the way, this is in theory, a real estate podcast. It's called Rise Up in Real Estate. We're on the eastern portion of the United States in coastal South Carolina. We run a brokerage here and an insurance company and also a property management company. And we've had a lot of great success and blessings over the last 20 years. So today we're going to talk to real estate agents about a question like, when's the last time you looked at your stats? When's the last time, be honest, when's the last time you looked at your Excel spreadsheet, if you're still that guy or gal, or you looked at the MLS stats, like your association and how you rank there and, how you've done so far. First quarter just ended, well, now we're 2 months in basically to the second quarter, but here we are in the middle of May already in 2023. But a lot of times after the first quarter, we take a gander at like, like I do this, how's the company doing? How are the offices doing? How are the individuals doing? And maybe you've done that for yourself. You want to know out of X number of people where you rank, what percentage are you in? So you can possibly use that information. My question is, if you've done that, why are you doing that? Like, what are you hoping to get out of that? And then how do you use that information, or do you use it? Maybe you don't. But have you looked? What are you using it for, and why did you look? It's interesting to me. I had this epiphany the other day, and I did a video about it not too long ago, but it's interesting how much weight we put into something that's already happened. Like how much emotion, how much merit, how much weight, I guess is a good way to put it, do we put in to the fact that right now we are in the top 10%, or right now our year is better than last year, or our year is worse than last year, or our year is the same. It's interesting to me because this is what's called a lagging indicator. Like, this is an interesting study that you could do on leading versus lagging indicators. But what you're looking at when you check your MLS stats, or we shoot them to you in our company, or we say within Remax or within your brand, you are number 50 out of 800 or whatever, you're looking at a lagging indicator, something that has already happened, something that you've already done, and you're looking at, it's why they call it lagging. You're getting a result after the fact. Okay. So you've already done the work. You've already put in the time. You've already probably cashed the paychecks for the, and you're looking at it, but there's something interesting to note about a lagging indicator. A lagging indicator cannot be adjusted. It cannot be changed. It cannot be affected. It is only good for motivation for the future or for record keeping. It's only a statistic. It's only it's like a temperature. Like, if you have a temperature, like a temperature in your body, you take your temperature and it's 103. Like, all you know is something got you there, right? You got a virus, or you got a food poisoning, or you got a sickness before, and the lagging indicator is that your temperature is 103. And now with that information, what are you going to do going forward? Like, you're probably going to take some Tylenol. You're probably going to cover up with some blankets, and even though you're freezing cold, you're sweating, and you're probably going to maybe take an antibiotic. You're going to maybe go to urgent care. You're going to not eat that food again. Whatever it is, you're going to make different decisions. And that's the interesting thing about lagging indicators, is that you can't do anything about what caused it. All you can do is something to cure it, and you can start working on things to change it. So it's interesting to me when real estate agents, and we all do it, I do it for the company. Like, I roll up on the statistics and I say, and you say, okay, well, here we are in April, May, and compared to last April, May, and you might do this all the time with people when you talk to them, like, how's your year going? Well, compared to last year, it's so-and-so. But how much emotion do you tie to that result? Like, how tied up do you get to it? Do you get depressed, or do you get excited, or do you get like mediocre? Do you not change at all? I would challenge you not to put too much weight in where you stand. Like, we don't get emotionally connected to our temperature when we take it. What we do is we find out, hey, this is my temperature. Now I'm going to do something about it. And that's what I want the challenge to be today for you. When you look at this lagging indicator, your stats, when you see it, you say to yourself, okay, I did better than last year. Why? What did I do to get me to this point? What did I do differently? Am I just riding the wave of a good market? Did I change some of my daily activities? Did I do a better job with conversion? There's a lot of questions you can ask yourself. How did you get to this result? Don't celebrate and then not do anything, right? Don't just feel good about yourself, although you should, and then just not do anything, because that emotion is fleeting. You didn't do anything today to achieve that, right? You got to do something different or continuous, consistent today in order to make something different happen, or more consistent happen in the future, right? Now, conversely, if you did terrible, and a lot of people are experiencing this right now, like, they look at their year over year. We did this as a company for the last quarter of last year. When you look at our year over year and you compare 2023 to 2022, I think almost universally in the United States, there was a downward trend in sales volume and sales units, which equals a downward volume in commission, unless you were one of the few. Maybe you weren't in the business and now you are. Maybe you just started and now you're much better at it. But in general, most people, if they looked at their lagging indicator, their statistic, they'd be discouraged because you're not doing as well as you did the year before. But I don't want you to get so emotionally tied to that result as either. I don't want you to say to yourself, oh boy, I haven't done very well, or this year was really bad. Like, why do we even look at it? Well, the reason that we should be looking at it is so that it's like a reality check. So we can say, okay, I didn't do so well first quarter, or I didn't do so well compared to the other year. And by the way, we should note that in real estate in our market in coastal South Carolina, if you're comparing yourself to 2022, 2021, or 2020, with a few little outlier exceptions, you are doing yourself a disservice, because those were abnormal markets. Those were markets that were, of course, COVID turned us into a different thing for a few years, and we thought it was going to be terrible, and it was actually exceptional. So if you're comparing yourself to those markets, you're probably most of the time going to be discouraged. If you compare yourself to 2019, now you're a little bit more even, you're a little bit more realistic. But when you look at those things, you need to take the information for what it's worth. Don't high five yourself or punch yourself in the face, depending on those things. What you should do with that lagging indicator, the result, the statistic, the outcome of your activities, you should say, going forward, I'm not doing that again, or I'm going to continue to do that. This is called a leading indicator. Look at the two different words here, leading versus lagging. Leading indicator is the opposite of the lagging indicator. A lagging indicator is a result. You can't do anything with it. It just is what it is. You're using it as a temperature gauge for how I have done. What did my activities lead me to? Leading indicator is the activities. The leading indicator is if I do this, it will lead to this. For example, if you sleep in too much, or you don't go to the office, or you don't make the phone calls, or you don't stay in touch with past clients, it will lead to a decline in business. It will lead to you going probably out of business. That leading indicator, those activities that you do, will lead you somewhere. Conversely, making the phone calls, staying in touch with past clients, doing pop buys, Mike Fiebernitz's, Martha Thill, all these people, Harmony Bellamy, all these events that she does. The leading indicator of taking those actions will lead you to a more secure business place. What are the leading indicators for you? So here's the thing. You look at a lagging indicator like statistics and you go, oh gosh, I'm going to do more of that, or oh gosh, I should do less of that. And what is that? That is the leading indicator. Those are the things that you need to do in order to make sure that when you look at the lagging indicator next, it is what you expected. Lagging indicators, although I said that they cannot be affected or changed, it is what it is. The number is what it is. You can't change that number. The lagging indicator can be a motivator, and the lagging indicator can somewhat be predicted. And it can be predicted by doing the leading indicators on a regular and consistent basis. The phone calls, the pop buys, the letters to clients, the consistent practice of your script, the discussions, the conversations that you have in the living rooms during listing conversations, all of these things these leading activities that you can work on, you can get better at, these things can predict. You can do such a thing that when you look at your lagging indicator, you say, oh, of course, that's what I kind of expected. Most of us, though, or a lot of us, I would venture to say, look at our lagging indicator, the statistics, the rankings, the results, and we say, oh, I'm a little bit surprised, or, oh, I should have done ABC, or, oh, and maybe, I hope this isn't the case, but maybe your lagging indicator strictly follows the course of the marketplace. If it's a good market, your lagging is great. If it's a bad market, your lagging's not so good. My challenge to you is to work hard on the leading indicators, no matter the market. Don't even pay attention. Jared James says there's no such thing as a good market or a bad market. It's just the market that you're in. And I agree with that 100%. Because if you're saying it's a good market or a bad market, you're looking at a lagging indicator, and there is no, like right now, our results from our first quarter, where was the work done? The work was done in the last year for the results of the first quarter. So you can't do anything about it. And it's actually not the when you look at your statistics, that's not the current market. That's the past market. That's the market we've already been through. The market that you're in is the day that you're alive. It's what, like I say to people, there's going to be a real estate transaction that's going to happen today, and it's just your choice whether you want to be involved in it or not. The market is actually real time, like what today, it's what's happening. And a good example is when there's a tragedy that happens, it affects today's market, like 9/11, when that happened, that and COVID, that stopped today's market. But if you would have, this is a great example, on March the 20th of 2020, if you'd have looked at the statistics that morning and said, how did I do? You're looking at a past market. It had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with what was going to happen on March 21st when businesses shut down. That was the current market. You understand what I'm saying, right? I'm overstating this, but I want you to get it through your mind that when you're looking at how you're doing and you're looking at your closings, it's actually what's happened in the past that's gotten you there. Those are lagging indicators. What I want to challenge you with is to get more proactive about your leading indicators so that eventually when you look at your lagging indicator, you can say, I made that happen. Because and you do this already, like you're doing the activities. I mean, you guys are professional agents, you're doing the activities already, but I want you to think about it a little bit differently. Like the things that you're doing right now in today's market, that's not any other day's market, it's today's market. The things that you're doing right now in this market will predict what your results will be in the future. So here's the neat thing about leading indicators. It's exactly the opposite of lagging. For a leading indicator, these activities, you can change them real time. You can make adjustments. You can get better at them. You can increase them if you need to. If you feel like you need to make more phone calls, you make more phone calls. If you need to get better at your scripts, you practice more. If you need to take more people to coffee, you do that as you see your results, right? As you look at your lagging indicators, you go, gosh, I haven't had a closing lately from my past clients. I need to get more intentional with my leading indicators to my past clients. And that's the neat thing about the leading indicator. You can't evaluate it. That's the cool. This is the coolest thing for me. Like, this is the explanation of the compound effect. You cannot evaluate a leading indicator's success because the results haven't been seen yet. You hear that? You cannot judge a leading indicator's success because the results haven't happened yet. I can say the word diet. I can say the word exercise. I can say the word prospecting, postcards, phone calls, pop buys, open houses, things that you do every single day. You guys are working so hard, I hope, on your leading indicators, but you can't judge the success or failure of those in the present moment. You can get better at them based on the results that you do get. You can polish them, you can change them, you can increase them or decrease them, but you can't see the results immediately. So here's what the beauty of this is. As you go throughout your real estate career, and really this could be said in your personal life, it can be said across the board in any industry, really. As you go throughout your life, you need to be constantly evaluating, and you get I almost said a book of business, but you get a book of results. You get a bank of results. That's why if you have somebody who's been in real estate a long time, if they have been a student of their activities and the results of those activities, I just said it, the leading indicator and the lagging indicator, activity and result. If they've been a student of that, they have a bank of knowledge that they can draw from. And I hope you see, and of course, trends change, right? I mean, several years ago, if I did this podcast, it would have been, there wasn't even an internet, or there was no video, or there was no AI is a good example. Like, things change a lot, like they change quickly, but your activities should be consistent. And if maybe you add things to your activities, and I wouldn't encourage you to be the person that changes activities on a minute to minute by basis. I would venture to say the people that you respect the most, that you look up to the most in our industry, probably do just consistently, just almost boring consistency. Like, they just do it all the time, and they're not wavering with trends. They pay attention, but they're not changing. I mean, very rarely does something come into our circle where we go, whoa, that's a big change. AI could be one. The internet was one. Video was one. But on a daily basis, things aren't changing. What should we should get really good at is, if you're going to look at your statistics today, realize what got you there was your activities over the past year. If you don't like where you are, it has nothing to do with where you can go, right? If you don't like the results that you've had, it just you didn't have a good last year. Change it. Like, work on your leading indicators and work on your activities so that when you have a result pop out in your future, number one, you're not surprised by it because it was predictable. Number two, you can repeat those things or modify them as you need to make it where you want to be.
If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990.
Another side note that we should mention in this, and by the way, I might only get to one of our topics because there's no sense in me talking for an hour because you'll go to sleep if you're not already asleep. One other thing that we should pay close attention to as you're doing this is your lagging indicators, like your results. We've talked about this ad nauseum at our brokerage here, but you should, I hope that you pay attention to these things and that you, like Vince taught a class yesterday on this. There should be a reason or a goal, a vision for your life that you want to see come true. Like, and there should be a dollar amount and a time investment related to it so that as you evaluate these lagging indicators and as you make adjustments to your activities, your leading indicators, you're working towards some output, some outcome that allows you to live the life that you want to live. You know, the thing that is confusing to me more than anything is that I see people in our business, entrepreneurs, that are just living the life that their fluctuating business according to the market allows them to live. Which means that, hey, I had a good year because it was the year of COVID. And so I lived a big life. I had an off year in 2023 because, you know, it was a shifting market and things changed and there was less and I got less. And so I lived less. Believe me when I tell you, like I was here in 2007. I saw people when the wheels were literally coming off of our economy, especially in housing and lending. I saw people live the life of their dreams because they knew, first of all, they knew the life they wanted to live, and then they planned to have it, and they acted according to their plan, and they did it consistently. They worked hard on their leading indicators, because here's the thing. Yeah, less things are selling right now, right? But less people are selling them also. And a lot more of those people are selling less things, which affords you the opportunity to pick up market share. Ask any good agent, somebody that you respect, how their 2007, 8, 9 were, if they were in the industry then, and ask them if they went down, stayed the same, or did more business. Most of the people that work hard on their leading indicators, their activities, grow no matter the market. And actually in a shifting market, a down market, whatever you want to call it, they gain momentum. And if you'll watch, this is exactly what's happening now. There are a lot of people that are not doing well, but there are a lot of people that are doing. I had lunch with someone the other day that said his first quarter was better than last year's first quarter, and it's not because he that day did anything. It's because his activities for years have been the same. And so that is the challenge for today. You guys spend some time looking at, and I'll save the other idea. The other idea I was going to talk about is leverage, because I had some fascinating conversations about leverage. We'll get to that in a future episode about how, and it's based on the same thing we're just talking about. Like if you've got this life that you want to live and it just doesn't seem reachable, this person I was having lunch with doesn't seem like he can do anymore. Like that's enough, right? He is maxed out. But what can he do in order to leverage himself so that he can get to the point where he can live the life that he wants to live? Does he have to mortgage his family? Does he have to give up his hobbies and his physical fitness and his health in order to reach it? He doesn't have to. Leverage allows you to do that, and we'll talk about that in a future episode. But today, what I want you to put your mind around is this whole thing of your activities versus your results. Don't get so caught up and married to your results. Don't get so caught up and married to the market that you think you're in, because you're probably basing your market judgment based on something that's happened in the past and not what's happening today. What you need to focus more on is getting super boring with your activities every day and just be committed. I mean, those of you that are physically fit, this is the whole thing, right? You don't, and I think it was, who was it? I think it was Simon Sinek did a fascinating video on YouTube one time that I watched, that he said, you work out really hard. You decide January the 1st that you're going to go to the gym, and you work out really hard January 1st, and you go look in the mirror and it's exactly what you look like when you walked in the gym, but you're wetter because you sweated a lot, but your body's the same. And you do it on the second day and you look at yourself and you don't recognize any results. And then over time, and he said in his video, he said, I don't even know when it happens, but at some point you start to recognize a change in yourself. Your energy changes, your physique starts to change, your clothes fit differently, your muscles look bigger, your stomach looks smaller. But did it happen on day 1, day 9, day 14? And here's the amazing thing. It happens different for every person. But the activities that you do, like if you get discouraged by the results, you would have never made it to the day of change. And the reality is things were changing at a cellular level, if you want to get technical, from the first minute. And I read an article the other day. That's the interesting thing about what goes inside of our bodies, like what goes on in there. Is everything that you do affects your cellular level of your body immediately almost, but you can't see it. You can't even feel it in most cases. And those things gone on over time then begin to show themselves outwardly on your physique or your body or your skin tone, color, just all of the things that you notice. Just like you could relate it to almost anything, lack of sleep, enough sleep. But it's the same with your daily activities. Like look at it like going to the gym. If you did today some activities and you don't see any results, don't be discouraged by that, because when you look at your lagging indicator one day, you're going to look back and go, okay, now I know. And let's be honest with ourselves. I think that's another thing we have to do more of in our industry is be honest. You have to be honest in your evaluation of yourself. Like I had lunch with a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he just basically told me, I don't work that much. Really, I don't work as much as somebody that would he's a real estate agent. I don't go to work as much as someone who goes to work 9 to 5 every day, and they do it Monday to Friday, every day, all day long. He said, I define the life that I want to live, and I work according to that. I know the amount of money and the amount of time I want to have, and time is as important to him as money is. So he doesn't work that much, he would say. His friends would say, but he makes the money that he needs to live the life that he wants to live. And it's because he's doing the activity. So you got to be honest with yourself. How are you doing? And you see those results. How did you do? And here's another thing. Is anybody helping you? It's not easy. Do you have somebody that's mentoring you or showing you the way to live abundantly? Offering you the tips and the accountability and the tools and you got to be mastery minded. You have to be willing to go back to the drawing board on a regular basis and say, how am I doing? And then you have to ask other people that are looking at you, how am I doing? You got to be honest, because, several years from now, your results will be dependent on how you lived and the actions that you took. And you telling stories about it doesn't make a difference. Just be honest, because this is the land of opportunity. There is real estate to be sold. I feel like there are, for people that are hungry and are willing to do the leading activities very well and consistently. And if you ever want to have a conversation about what those should be, let's get together, because there are an infinite number of them, by the way, and they are dependent on what you're best at. You don't have to make phone calls. My wife's never made a cold call, and she sold a lot of real estate. I love to make cold calls, but I would never do something else. But so there's a lot of what we call pillars of business that you can dig into. But what are they, and how can I do them consistently? My schedule leads into time blocking. It leads into, there's no such thing as life balance, but it leads to, how you're going to live your life. So if you don't have anybody that's willing to talk to you about that, I'm an open book. I would love to have coffee and talk specifically about this. But Rise Up Nation, leading indicators versus lagging indicators. Let's make an agreement with each other that we're going to spend more time and energy and focus and just passion on the leading indicators, the things that predict your success in the future. So that when you look at those lagging indicators, you can go, I knew it. I knew it was coming. But let's make that commitment to each other today, that we will focus more on the activities that we need to be doing rather than the results of those activities, because you just don't ever know when the dam is going to break. You just don't know how close you are to hitting oil. You just don't know. I mean, ask the Clampetts. You don't know. Is it going to be the next chip or not? There's a real estate agent. I'll share their story probably as long as I'm in real estate. She had a rough start. She's incredible realtor now. Like, she's got a team and she does lots of business and living the life she wants to live. But in the first 6 months, she was like, I don't know. And my wife told her, you're doing all the right activities. Keep doing those activities and the results will come. Just trust us. And it was scary because there's a family depending on her doing something, right? Well, before you knew it, one transaction, one person that she met led to 7 transactions, and the rest is history. But it wasn't that day that determined that. She met that person. Of course, she was available and she converted and all that. But that day, actually, those results came from her putting in the time the 6 months prior and not feeling like she was getting anywhere. So hopefully you get this. Hopefully you understand. Hopefully you'll make the commitment to me, with me, and beside me, alongside me. You'll say, hey, as part of Rise Up Nation, I'm committing to leading indicators over lagging indicators. And I can't wait to celebrate your success in the future. If you're making that commitment today, I feel like a preacher, like getting ready to give an altar call, but I'm not. If you feel like you're going to make that commitment and you want to, send me a text. Just say, hey, I listened to the podcast today. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be more disciplined about my daily activities so that when I look at those lagging indicators, I won't be surprised and I won't put too much weight in them. I'll just say, oh yeah, it's because I did the work. Rise Up Nation, it's always, always, always fun to talk at you. I'd love to talk to you.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.